Late at night, the 20th floor stands empty. A janitor mops the marble floor. Then he hears it. Piano notes, clumsy and disconnected, coming from the music room. He walks toward the sound. Inside, a blind girl sits at the grand piano. Her small fingers search for the keys. He sits at the second piano. "May I join you?" She smiles, tilts her head to listen. Two pairs of hands, one rough and worn, one small and delicate. They begin to play together. Behind the half-open door, a woman in a white suit stands frozen. Tears stream down her face. His name is Jack Rowan, 42 years old, single father, janitor at the Helios Group building. But Jack was not always a janitor. 10 years ago, he played piano in a military orchestra. His wife would sit in the front row at every performance. Her smile was the only audience he needed. Then came the accident, a drunk driver. One night that changed everything. She did not survive. Jack stopped playing. The piano became a memory too painful to touch. He took the first job he could find, a job where no one asked questions, where he could disappear into the rhythm of mopping floors and emptying trash cans. He raised his daughter alone. Every dollar went to her future. Every sacrifice was worth it. But tonight, something pulls him back. The girl at the piano. She cannot be more than 9 years old. Her eyes do not move, do not focus. She is blind. Yet her fingers move across the keys with determination. She plays by ear. No sheet music, no teacher, just pure instinct. Jack recognizes the melody, Claire de Lune. But the notes are incomplete, disconnected, like a puzzle with missing pieces. He watches her for a moment, then he sits down. "You are close," he says softly, "but music is not just about hitting the right keys. It is about feeling the space between the notes." The girl turns her head toward his voice. "Who are you?" she asks. "Just someone who used to play," Jack says. "What is your name?" "Lily." "Beautiful name. Do you come here often, Lily?" She nods. "My mom works here. She's always busy, so I wait and I play." Jack notices the bracelet on her wrist, silver, with words engraved on it. "Here with your heart." "That is a special bracelet," he says. Lily touches it gently. "My dad gave it to me before he left." Jack does not ask more. He understands loss. He understands loneliness. "Would you like me to show you something?" he asks. Lily smiles. "Yes, please." Jack places his hands on the keys. He plays the same melody. But this time it is complete. The notes flow like water, smooth, effortless, alive. Lily listens. Her face lights up. "It sounds like the ocean," she whispers. "Exactly," Jack says. "Music is not just sound. It is emotion. It is color. It is everything you feel but cannot see." "Can you teach me?" Lily asks. Jack hesitates. He looks at his worn hands, his janitor uniform. He does not belong here. But then he sees her smile, her hope. "Yes," he says, "I can teach you." From that night on, Jack comes to the 20th floor every evening after his shift ends. He brings no payment. He asks for nothing in return. He teaches Lily how to feel the music, how to let the melody guide her fingers, how to play not with her eyes but with her heart. She learns quickly. Her playing transforms. The disconnected notes become stories, become dreams. And for the first time in 10 years, Jack feels alive again. But he does not know that someone is watching. Someone who has been listening from the shadows. Someone who will soon change everything. Every night becomes a ritual. Jack finishes his cleaning duties at 11. Most employees have gone home. The building is quiet, empty, safe. He takes the elevator to the 20th floor, walks down the long hallway, opens the door to the music room, and there she is, Lily, always waiting, always smiling. "Uncle Jack," she calls out. She cannot see him, but she recognizes his footsteps. "Hello, little one," Jack says. He sits beside her at the piano. Tonight they practice scales, then arpeggios, then a simple piece by Chopin. Lily stumbles on a difficult passage. She frowns. "I cannot get it right," she says. Do not focus on perfection, Jack tells her. Focus on the feeling. What does this music make you feel? Lily thinks for a moment. It feels sad, but also hopeful. Then play it that way. Let your heart lead. Your fingers will follow. She tries again. This time the notes are softer, more delicate, more real. Jack smiles. Better. Much better. They talk between pieces. Lily asks questions about everything. Uncle Jack, what does a sunset sound like? Jack laughs. A sunset? Well, it sounds like peace. Like everything slowing down. If you listen close enough, you can almost hear the sky changing colors. I wish I could see colors, Lily says quietly. You do, Jack says. You just see them differently. You hear them. You feel them. That is a gift, Lily, not a limitation. She hugs him. Jack is surprised. He has not been hugged in years. Thank you for being my friend, she whispers. Jack feels something break inside his chest. Something warm, something he had lost forever. Always, he says, but their secret cannot last. One night, the building's security guard makes his rounds earlier than usual. He hears the piano. He opens the door. He sees Jack, a janitor, sitting with a child, alone, at night. What is going on here? The guard demands. Jack stands up quickly. I was helping her practice. Her? Helping her? You are a janitor. You have no business being in this room after hours. Please, Lily says. He is my teacher. He did not do anything wrong. I am reporting this, the guard says. He takes out his radio. The next morning, Jack is called into the manager's office. The manager is a tall man with cold eyes. His name is Richard. He does not like janitors. He does not like people who break rules. You were caught in the music room last night, Richard says, with a child, after hours. Do you understand how serious this is? I was teaching her piano, Jack explains. She asked me to. I did not mean any harm. You are paid to clean, not to play piano, not to interact with tenants, especially not children. But she was alone. She needed help. That is not your concern. Richard leans forward. This is your final warning. If I catch you in that room again, you are fired. Do you understand? Jack clenches his fists. He wants to argue, but he needs this job. He has bills. He has a daughter. Yes, sir, he says quietly. He turns to leave. But Richard is not done. People like you need to know their place, Richard says. You are a janitor, nothing more. Jack does not respond. He walks out. That evening, Jack does not go to the music room. He finishes his shift and goes straight home. But the next night, he hears the piano again. He stops outside the door. He should walk away. He should protect his job. But then he hears Lily's voice. Uncle Jack, are you there? His heart breaks. He opens the door. Lily is sitting at the piano. Tears run down her cheeks. I thought you left me, she says, like my dad. Jack kneels beside her. I will never leave you, Lily, never. But the man said you cannot come back. Let me worry about that. Right now, let us play. They play together, one last time, but they are not alone. Outside the room, Richard stands with two other employees. He called them as witnesses. Caught you, he says, stepping inside. Jack stands. He knows what is coming. I told you to stay away. You are done. Pack your things and leave. The other employees whisper. Some look uncomfortable, others smirk. The janitor thought he was special. But then Lily does something unexpected. She grabs Jack's hand. She holds it tight. Please, do not take him away. He is the only one who sees me. Richard hesitates, but only for a moment. This is not negotiable. Security will escort you out. Jack looks at Lily one last time. He kneels down. Remember what I taught you, he whispers. Here with your heart. He places something in her hand, a small folded piece of paper, a phone number. If you ever need me, call. Then he walks away. Lily sits alone at the piano. Her small hands rest on the keys, and for the first time in weeks, she does not play. 3 days pass. Jack does not return to the building. He takes a job at a grocery store stocking shelves at night. The pay is worse. The hours are longer, But at least no one judges him. He thinks about Lily every day. He wonders if she is still playing, if she remembers what he taught her. He hopes she does. Meanwhile, on the 20th floor, something is changing. Clara Voss sits in her corner office. She is the CEO of Helios Group, 33 years old, sharp, driven, ruthless when necessary. She built this company from nothing. She sacrificed everything for success, including time with her daughter. Lily spends most evenings alone in the building. Clara tells herself it is temporary, that once this quarter ends, once this deal closes, she will have more time. But the quarters never end. The deals never stop. Tonight, Clara finishes a conference call at 9. She is exhausted. She rubs her temples and looks at the clock. Lily is downstairs in the music room, as always. Clara decides to check on her. She takes the elevator down, walks through the quiet hallway. She hears something unexpected. Piano music, but not just any music. It is Lily playing, and she sounds different, better, more confident. Clara opens the door slowly. Lily is alone at the piano. Her fingers move across the keys with grace, with feeling. She plays River Flows in You. Clara has never heard her daughter play like this. She steps back into the hallway. She does not want to interrupt. She just wants to listen. But then the music stops. "Mommy," Lily calls out. "Is that you?" Clara freezes. How did she know? She walks inside. "Yes, sweetheart. It is me." "I heard your heels," Lily says. "You always wear the tall ones." Clara smiles. She forgets sometimes how sharp her daughter's other senses are. "You played beautifully," Clara says. "When did you get so good?" Lily's face lights up. "Uncle Jack taught me. He said music is not about seeing the notes. It is about feeling them." "Uncle Jack?" "The janitor. He used to play with me every night, until they made him leave." Clara's chest tightens. "What do you mean they made him leave?" "Mr. Richards said he was not allowed to be here, that he was just a janitor, so they fired him." Clara's expression hardens. "Richard did what?" Before Lily can answer, Clara's phone rings. An investor. She has to take it. "Stay here, sweetheart. I will be right back." She steps into the hallway. The call lasts 20 minutes. By the time she finishes, she has forgotten the conversation. She walks back toward the music room, but she stops when she hears it. 2 pianos. Someone is playing with Lily. Clara's heart races. She moves quietly to the door. She looks through the small window. A man in a janitor uniform sits at the second piano. His back is to her, but his hands move with the skill of a professional. He is teaching Lily a duet. "Feel the rhythm," he says gently. "Do not rush. Let the music breathe." Lily laughs. It is a sound Clara has not heard in years. Pure joy. They play together. River Flows in You. The melody is hauntingly beautiful. Clara stands frozen. Tears stream down her face. This stranger, this janitor, he gave her daughter something she could not. He gave her happiness. The music ends. Lily claps her hands. "That was perfect, Uncle Jack." "You were perfect, Jack says. "I just followed your lead." Clara takes a breath. She pushes the door open. Both of them turn toward the sound. Jack sees her. His face goes pale. Clara Voss, the CEO, standing in front of him. He stands quickly. "I am sorry, I know I am not supposed to be here, but Lily called me. She asked me to come. I could not say no." Clara does not respond immediately. She studies him, his worn uniform, his calloused hands, his kind eyes. "Who are you?" she asks coldly. "Jack Rowan, ma'am. I used to work here, as a janitor. I was fired 3 days ago." "For what reason?" Jack hesitates. "For being in this room, with your daughter." Clara turns to Richard, who has just entered the hallway behind her. He must have been alerted by security. "Is this true?" she asks. "Yes, Ms. Voss," Richard says confidently. "He violated protocol. He had no authorization to interact with my daughter?" Richard falters. "I was protecting company policy." Clara's voice drops to ice. "You fired the man who was teaching my daughter piano, the man who made her smile for the first time in years. And you did not think to inform me?" I did not know she was your daughter. That makes it worse. Clara steps closer. You judged him based on his uniform, not his character. Richard has no response. Clara turns back to Jack. Why did you come back? You knew you could be arrested for trespassing. Jack looks at Lily, then back at Clara. Because she needed me, he says simply, and I do not abandon the people I care about. The room falls silent. Lily walks forward. She reaches for her mother's hand, then for Jack's. Mommy, she says softly, Uncle Jack taught me how to see your face with music. He said every person has a sound, and yours sounds like strength and sadness and love. Clara's tears fall freely now. She looks at Jack, really looks at him. You did this? You taught her all of this? I only showed her what was already inside her, Jack says. She did the rest. Clara wipes her eyes. She makes a decision. Do not leave, she says. Not yet. Jack nods slowly. Clara turns to Richard. Leave us, and report to my office first thing tomorrow morning. Richard's face goes red, but he leaves without a word. Clara kneels in front of Lily. She holds her daughter's face in her hands. I am sorry, she whispers. I have been so focused on work that I forgot what matters most. You. Lily hugs her. It is okay, Mommy. You are here now. Clara stands. She looks at Jack. Thank you, she says, for seeing her when I could not. Jack nods. She is a remarkable girl. Because of you. The three of them stand in the quiet music room. A CEO, a janitor, and a blind girl who brought them together. The next morning, Clara calls an emergency meeting. She summons every employee in the building, managers, assistants, security, janitors, everyone. They gather in the main atrium, hundreds of people, confused, nervous. Clara stands on the raised platform. Her presence commands silence. I want to tell you a story, she begins. 3 nights ago, a man was fired from this company. His name is Jack Rowan. He worked as a janitor on the night shift. People glance at each other. They remember. Some of them were there when he was escorted out. He was fired for spending time in the music room, for teaching a little blind girl how to play piano. That little girl is my daughter. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Clara continues. Jack did not know who she was. He did not do it for recognition, or money, or advancement. He did it because she was alone, and she needed someone to see her. She pauses. Her voice grows stronger. This company has forgotten something important. We have forgotten that value is not determined by title, that worth is not measured by salary, that sometimes the most important person in the building is not the one in the corner office. She gestures to the side entrance. Jack, would you join me, please? Jack walks onto the platform. He is not wearing his janitor uniform. Clara arranged for him to have a proper suit, but he still looks uncomfortable under so many eyes. The crowd is silent, watching. Clara turns to him. Jack Rowan sacrificed his job to help my daughter. He risked everything because it was the right thing to do. And for that, this company owes him more than an apology. She addresses the crowd again. Effective immediately, Jack Rowan is appointed as the music director for the Helios Foundation. He will lead our new program providing free music education to children with disabilities. The room erupts. Applause, cheers. People stand. Jack is stunned. He looks at Clara. I do not understand. You are not just anything, Clara says firmly. You are exactly what this company needs. What my daughter needs. In the back of the crowd, Richard stands stiff. His face is red. He knows what is coming. Clara's eyes find him. Richard Miller, step forward. He hesitates, then walks to the front. Every eye is on him. You judged a man by his uniform, Clara says. You dismissed him without investigating. You let your prejudice override your judgment. And worst of all, you made my daughter feel that her friend was disposable. Richard opens his mouth, but Clara raises her hand. You are being reassigned to the facilities management team, where perhaps you will learn what it means to be judged by your work instead of your title. The crowd murmurs. Some nod in approval. Richard's humiliation is complete. He walks off the platform, head down. The people who used to respect him now look away. Justice has been served. Clara turns back to Jack. Do you accept? Jack looks out at the sea of faces, then down at his hands. The same hands that scrubbed floors, that mopped hallways, that played music for a little girl who could not see. Yes, he says, I accept. The crowd cheers again, louder this time. Lily is brought onto the platform. She feels her way toward Jack. He takes her hand. She reaches into her pocket and pulls out her silver bracelet. This is for you, she says, because you taught me what it means. Here with your heart. Jack kneels. Lily slips the bracelet onto his wrist. The crowd goes silent. Many wipe their eyes. Clara watches them. Her daughter and the man who saved her. She smiles. A real smile. Not the corporate mask she wears every day. For the first time in years, she feels hope. 1 year later, the Helios Foundation Music Hall is packed. Parents, children, teachers, press. On stage, 30 children sit with instruments, violins, flutes, cellos, and in the center, 2 grand pianos. Jack stands at the podium. He wears a conductor's suit now, but his eyes still carry the same kindness. Beside one piano sits Lily. She is 10 now. Her fingers rest confidently on the keys. She wears a new bracelet. This one says, music is light. The lights dim. The audience quiets. Jack raises his baton. The children begin to play. It is an original composition, written by Jack, inspired by Lily. It is called The Things We Cannot See. The melody is beautiful, bittersweet, full of hope and longing and joy. Lily plays the lead piano part. Her fingers dance across the keys. She does not need to see the notes. She feels them, every single one. The audience watches in silence. Many cry. In the front row sits Clara. She holds her phone, recording every second. But she also watches with her own eyes. Really watches. She sees her daughter, not as the blind girl who needs protection, but as the artist she has become. The music swells, reaches its climax, then softens into a gentle ending. The final note hangs in the air. Silence, then thunderous applause. The children stand. They bow. Lily stands too. She turns toward the audience. She cannot see them, but she hears them. Jack steps off the podium. He walks to her piano. He takes her hand. Together they bow. The applause grows louder. Clara stands, tears streaming, clapping until her hands hurt. After the performance, the crowd mingles in the lobby. Jack stands with Lily and Clara. A reporter approaches. Mr. Rowan, what inspired you to create this program? Jack glances at Lily, then at Clara. I was once a man who lost his way, he says. I thought my music died with my wife. But then I met someone who reminded me that music is not about what we see. It is about what we feel, what we share, what we give to others. The reporter smiles. And what is your message to other people who feel lost? Jack thinks for a moment. That sometimes the most important moments in life happen when no one is watching, when there is no reward, no recognition, when you simply choose to do what is right because someone needs you. He looks down at the bracelet on his wrist. Here with your heart, he says, the rest will follow. The camera pans out. The music hall glows with warm light. Children laugh. Parents embrace. Music fills the air. And in the center of it all, 3 people stand together. A CEO who learned to see, a janitor who learned to hope, and a blind girl who taught them both how to hear. Subscribe if you believe music can heal what the eyes cannot.